It begins with a man on a motorcycle named James being chased by a police officer on a road. He escapes, however, that night he is caught with a blue glowing ball in his pocket. Just as he takes it out, another ball appears in the sky and pulls the one in his hand. Everyone watches it fly back into the sky, while James chases after it. Rogers, a police officer, sees him running and watches the blue ball leave Earth, carrying James with it. 19 years later, Everly was on the side of the road after her car broke down while she was attempting to flee town. Her boyfriend Jimmy arrives and teases her, and after a squabble, she tells him she's late and takes his car, leaving him with a broken one and a paper. Jimmy assumes she's going somewhere, but he soon discovers she's pregnant. Jimmy goes to see his half-brother, Johnny, and tells him what happened. He asks for advice on how to show Everly that he is not a loser. They discover a music competition poster and learn Everly will be around for a while. Jimmy begs Johnny to participate in the competition that will take place tonight. He agrees after making a promise to tell his wife Melanie that the idea is Jimmy's. Everly meets Melanie, who chastises her for leaving town without informing her and her Nana first. Everly's Nana appears and tries to persuade her that she can achieve her goals, but she needs to speak with Jimmy about everything. They both then encourage her to reconcile with Jimmy. Bo and Gus, on the other hand, are on the lookout for the crystal ball at the request of a woman named Gina. They ride their bike but are stopped by Rogers for speeding. Gus puts the briefcase in one of the race cars, and Rogers begins to question them. They notice Jimmy getting into the car with the briefcase. Everly arrives at the race and discovers that Jimmy has replaced Johnny as a participant. The host announces the start of the race, and Jimmy enters alongside Taylor Kirk, the town's officer. During the race, the briefcase inside Jimmy's car begins to open due to the noise. At the last moment, an opponent collides with it, causing it to explode into a small blue dome. The car soon catches fire, and Jimmy escapes unharmed. After the fire is extinguished, they meet with Everly and Melanie. While Jimmy works on the car, Everly remains behind, and he tries to reassure her that he will be by her side. As she argues, nothing will remain the same. They talk about her singing career and the contest she'll be taking part in. Everly and Jimmy find the crystal. He opens it and holds it up in his hand. Soon, a light appears in the sky and collides with the blue crystal, forming a triangular portal. Everly and Jimmy approach the portal cautiously and enter it. Inside, they discover a strange, dark place with white, carrot-like food. Some strange creatures hop out of the place and onto Earth, leaving as soon as they notice the portal closing in, taking the crystal with them. Everly and Jimmy begin driving, arguing over whether to report it to the police or keep it. Jimmy decides that Everly needs to perform and begins to drive quickly. They arrive at Johnny's bar, where Kirk soon joins them. Everly takes to the stage to sing, and Jimmy takes Melanie aside to show her the crystal before Johnny joins them. Jimmy explains how he discovered the briefcase and what occurred at the fairgrounds. He shows them the carrot as evidence that he may have created a portal to another planet. Lisa, their daughter, is astounded by the news and wonders if he too possesses superhuman abilities. We then see Everly begin to sing, but Gus and Bo arrive looking for Jimmy. They confront him about returning the crystal, and he refuses. Soon a fight breaks out, and a woman enters, claiming that they are being invaded by aliens. The fight continues and everyone is involved. As Jimmy grabs the crystal, he experiences a flashback to his childhood. Rogers wakes him up, and he discovers that the commotion has ended. Jimmy goes to find Everly, who is preparing to leave. He tries to stop her, but she questions his ability to raise a child and insists on taking the crystal to Rogers. He finally agrees. However, Gus and Bo arrive and request the briefcase. A green light appears from the field to the side, and the strange creatures take over. Everly and Jimmy, shocked by the situation, decide to leave after witnessing another man being taken away. They go to Nana's house and try to explain what they saw, but she reacts calmly. She informs them that aliens have been in Blue River for more than 40 years and displays her collection of artifacts. She explains that she saw a clear UFO twice during the day. They tell her about the portal they opened and the strange creature that emerged. They quickly hide when they hear a knock, as the man who was killed remains outside. One of the creatures was inside the house, and Jimmy killed it with a bat. Eventually, they let someone in and discover that he is an alien named Ben. He explains that the name Ben is common on his planet. Meanwhile, Bo goes to Gina and tells her how Gus died. However, Gina becomes enraged when she discovers that the crystal has been lost. Ben takes the creature and explains what it is. Its name is difficult to pronounce, so people start calling it the Cog Monster. He explains that it's a drone that, after dying, emits spores imprinted with the details of its death. If any of the others absorb them, they will become more dangerous. Ben informs them that the only way to dispose of a cog is to send it back through the portal. He goes on to explain that there are more crystal stones. His homeworld scientists discovered them on their way to Earth. Both stones are required to form a permanent bridge. If only one is used, the portal will be one way only. Portals remain open for a few minutes or even seconds. If it collapses, they'll be trapped. He then explains what they should do with the cog. The next morning, Roger and Kirk discover Gus's lifeless body, eaten by the cog. Kirk goes to report their findings, while Roger speaks with Lisa, who happens to be present. Roger and Kirk question Johnny about Jimmy's whereabouts, but he doesn't answer. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Ben are driving when Ben notices the strange carrot that they discovered. He explains that it is called Ondi, and it expands the mind's perception of time and space. Ben explains that Ondi is the best option for anyone looking to open a portal. Jimmy takes a bite and begins to experience visions. They pull over, and Ben instructs him to clear his mind and try to open a portal by concentrating. After a while, they go to an open area and attempt to open the portal. Jimmy is excited and begins to have visions, but they are fleeting. When Bo arrives with a gun, he begins to chase them down the canyons. While hiding, Jimmy announces that he can open a portal and comes up with a plan. He tells Everly to trust him and do what he says. She agrees, and they successfully open a portal to return one cog. Everly, on the other hand, is upset because Jimmy used her as bait to catch the cog. Jimmy tells her that he made a critical decision in the midst of danger. She gets even angrier at Ben for not using his abilities to control the cogs. Ben admits that he is only in training, which frustrates them even more. When Everly, Jimmy, and Ben arrive at Nana's house, they discover Rogers and Kirk there. They introduce Ben as an alien, confusing both officers. When they all get inside, Kirk begins to question how Gus died, accusing Jimmy of being involved in a fight with him at the bar. Jimmy, confident that he will explain everything, asks Nana where the cog is. She removes it from the refrigerator and warns Roger that he cannot hide it because she has already photographed and videotaped it. After seeing the cog, they realize what killed Gus. Roger takes Jimmy to another room and tells him that he has seen similar things before. He reminds him that he knew his father, James. Roger explains that James was wild and informs Jimmy that James opened a portal and left Earth. Roger explains that James wanted to leave a better life for his children and encourages Jimmy to do the same. Jimmy finally lets go of his resentment for his father and admits that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Roger lets Jimmy keep the crystal stone and departs. The following day, Johnny goes to the ice cream shop with Melanie and Lisa. Bo soon arrives, brandishing a gun and demanding Jimmy and Shelley leave. Bo dismisses Johnny's request to stop doing bad things and goes to Gina, telling her where Jimmy might be. In the meantime, Jimmy is with Everly and apologizes for his recklessness. They soon go downstairs to discover that Nana and Rogers are missing. Kirk tells them the cogs were present. They all go outside and decide to separate and circle the house. Jimmy and Everly go one way, while Ben and Kirk go the opposite way. They soon find themselves in a room full of tools, where Rogers shows them a cog in the dark corner. The cog flees, and they pursue it to another corner. Everly gives Jimmy the crystal stone so he can try to open a portal with just one of them. However, they encounter another cog, which Rogers shoots at before they flee with Kirk and Ben. Then a larger cog appears on the roof, and they all run into a cornfield to sit quietly. However, a truck appears, and the cog speeds past them. Gina steps out of the truck and orders Jimmy to hand over the stone, or she will kill Nana. Gina admits she wants to deliver the alien, which enrages Bo. He opposes Gina, but is soon attacked and killed by a cog. Gina starts counting, and Jimmy attempts to open a portal as Everly calls out to him. She is approached by a cog, but Rogers distracts it before being attacked himself. Ben stands up and tells Gina to stop what she is doing. However, Gina reveals herself to be an alien as soon as the portal opens. Everly saves Nana and rushes into the portal, pursued by a cog. Jimmy tries to save Rogers, but the latter dies. Jimmy then moves a short distance away, followed by Ben. Jimmy lashes out at Ben, but Ben admits that Gina is his mother and that he is here to stop her from carrying out her plans. Jimmy yells at him before leaving. He begins to see visions and eventually travels back to the time when James entered the portal. Jimmy joins him and is taken to what James refers to as the Beyond. James talks to him for a while, explaining that he had debts to pay and stole something on Earth. However, when the opportunity to visit the Beyond presented itself, he did not hesitate and did not regret it. James invites Jimmy to join him, leaving Everly and his baby with him. Jimmy declines the offer and chooses to stay with his family. He then wakes up and walks to the main road, where he meets Ben, who offers him a ride. They proceed to the bar, where Jimmy apologizes to everyone for being stubborn. They collaborate to devise a strategy for working together. Ben explains his mother's heinous plot to destroy humanity. They all go to the fairgrounds and prepare to fight the Cogs. Jimmy opens a portal, goes through it, and saves Everly. They continue their escape from Gina. Finally, they bring all three stones together to form a portal that allows them to travel back and forth. Jimmy follows them back to Earth and reunites with Johnny and the rest of his family, whom he abandoned. 6 months later, Everly and Jimmy marry and bid farewell to their friends as they prepare to leave. The film concludes with Everly's song playing on television. An elderly lady enters and announces that there is a zombie invasion. The group departs in a car while the others prepare to fight off the zombies.